So this morning we will discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, The Pandavas Retire Timely, Text 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Patnyastava Divmakaklipta Mahabhisheka Slagistacharo Kubaram Kitavai Sabayam Sprishtam Vikirya Padayo Patitasramukya Yastatstrayo Kitahate Shavimukha Shikesha. Word for word translation. Patnya, of the wife. Tava, your. Adimaka, during the great sacrificial ceremony. Klipta, dressed. Mahaabhisheka, greatly sanctified. Slagista, thus glorified. Charu, beautiful. Kabaram, clustered hair. Kitavai, by the miscreants. Sabayam, in the great assembly. Sprishtam, being caught. Vikirya, being loosened. Padayo, on the feet. Patita ashramukya, of the one who fell down with tears in the eyes. Yaha, he. Tat, there. Striya, wives. Akrita became. Hata Isha, bereft of husbands. Vimukta Kesai, loosened hair. Translation. It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreants, who dared open the cluster of your queen's hair, which had been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. At that time, she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna, with tears in her eyes. Purport. Queen Draupadi had a beautiful bunch of hair, which was sanctified in the ceremonial function of the Rajasuya's yajna. But when she was lost in a bed, Dushasan touched her glorified hair to insult her. Draupadi then fell down at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna decided that all the wives of Dushasan and the company should have their hair loosened as a result of the battle of Kurukshetra. Thus, after the battle of Kurukshetra, after all the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, all the wives of the family were obliged to loosen their hair as widows. In other words, all the wives of the Kuru family became widows because of Dushasan's insulting a great devotee of the Lord. The Lord can tolerate insults upon himself by any miscreant, because the Father tolerates even insults from the Son. But he never tolerates insults upon his devotees. By insulting a great soul, one has to forego all the results of pious acts and benedictions also. Go back to the verse. Patnyastavadi makaklipta mahabhisheka slahista chara kobaram kitavai sabayam Spristam vikirya padayo padatasramukya yastatstrayo kritate shavimukta sita. Vimuktakesha translation. It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreants, who dared open the cluster of your queen's hair, which had been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. At that time, she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. Om Mahyanatibrandasya Chinanshana Shanakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chitchaitanyamanopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svamrupkadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shio Shiuda Padakamanam Shigrum Vaishnavam Sa Shri Rupam Jagajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaduttam Pajana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivishakam Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Rande Vrindavaneshwar Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriya Pankha Kalpta Vishakripa Sinvebhasa Padnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavina Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhagavat Prasanam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasani. Nirvashesha Srinyavadi Paskachani Dasatana. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse, it is revealed that there are higher laws laws that are higher than the law of karma. In this world, we get reactions of our previous actions in previous lives. It's called karma, good karma and bad karma. But if one offends a devotee, one loses all his good karma, all the pious activities are gone. That's interesting. We see Hiranyakashipu. He did austerities to become very powerful. But then he had an enormous power. He was set to rule for thousands of years the universe with his power. But how long did he rule? 5 years. Because how do we know it was only 5 years? Prahlad was 5 years old when he disappeared, when Lord Nrsimhadev killed him. 5 years only. It means all the results of his austerities and so on, which was with great austerities. He was set to rule for a long time, but it was only 5 years. All the results were taken away by offending Prahlad Maharaj. So this is a higher principle. Therefore, we hear this first offense against holy name, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the preaching of the holy name. But But it is a serious offense. It takes away all one's pious activities, the results of one's pious activities. That means there are superior laws that, and the Bhagavatam is full of stories and that confirms this. That you have Prajapati Daksha, that he lost his head, got the head of a goat by offending Lord Shiva. That so we have Durvasa Muni also offending Maharaj Ambarish. So we have all these examples, and here you have all these Kurus who were mishandling Queen Kunti. Draupadi. So this is, yes, the result of offending a devotee. Because the hair of Draupadi was, because it is said because of this what happened here, that Dushasan touched her hair, that all their wives of the Kurus would have become widows just by that offense. So it was not only Dushasan who got reactions, but all of them, all the Kurus, that even Bhishmadev who was silent, but still he was also responsible because he did not react. Therefore he became responsible. That I've seen that also in my own life. When I became a devotee, I have two brothers. One became very inimical to me. He was blaspheming me like anything. But a few years later he died. Finished. That we see these things happen also. That if someone blasphemes a devotee, even if the devotee is a Kanishta, it doesn't matter. Krishna doesn't tolerate, no way, and yes, their pious activities come to an end. But of course, they commit these offenses out of ignorance. And that not understanding the position of a devotee. This was also with Prajapati Daksha, who offended Lord Shiva. He was thinking, he's not offering me respect, Lord Shiva. He should offer me respect because he is my son-in-law. Therefore, I'm of a higher position, and he should offer me respect. And he was convinced, and he was thinking I'm rectifying my son-in-law. So he was not seeing it as blasphemy. He could not understand Lord Shiva's spiritual position. Lord Shiva's position is higher than that of Brahma. Brahma is a jiva, has maximum 50 qualities. Lord Shiva has 55 qualities. And Vishnu has 60 qualities. And Krishna has 64 qualities. So Lord Shiva was spiritually on a higher position even than Brahma. But because of his pride and his envy, he could not understand and committed these offenses. So we have to be careful. This pride, this envy. We should not think ourselves too quick to be in a position to rectify others. And that unless you are in a position as temple president or you are very senior or you are a spiritual guide, then you can correct on the condition that you are not feeling envious towards that devotee. Otherwise, it's the same position as Prajapati Daksha, who said to the demigods, I'm not acting out of envy, but his heart was full of envy. So that was Daksha's inner disposition, that I'm in a higher position because he married my daughter, is my son-in-law. And then he saw only faults in Lord Shiva. He said, this Lord Shiva, his manners are not very good because he has bad association. He associates with all these creatures in the lower moods. And he lives at the crematoria and put the ashes of dead bodies, his bodies in, he smears it over his body. So he started to find fault in so many ways of Lord Shiva because of envy. Envy that's trying to put the other down. That's the materialistic vision. They try to put down everyone. It's like when Srila Prabhupada was in Japan. No, it was Tamal Krishna Maharaj was in Japan. And he had a discussion with a manager who had to print books, Prabhupada's books. And he asked the manager, what's your goal in life? And the manager showed a stack of business cards. And he put his business card was at the bottom. He put it from the bottom on top and said that was the goal of his life. To be the number one and to put everyone down. But a devotee is different. A devotee tries to elevate everyone. And if a devotee sees good qualities in another, spiritual qualities, he will glorify it. And he will only see faults in himself, not in others. So that is spiritual visions, seeing the spiritual qualities in others. The material qualities, they are temporary. There's a temporary contamination of the consciousness. It doesn't see fault with the person. The person is the soul, is transcendental. The soul cannot have faults because the consciousness of the soul is contaminated. We think in the duality of the world, good and bad. By that, we create friends and enemies. Friends and enemies. That based on the duality. The absolute duality of the world is a mental concoction. What is good, what is bad? There's a discussion between Prabhupada and a lawyer in Australia, and the lawyer made to him, are there not good things in itself? Things that are good from itself, like you help an old lady to cross over the street. Things good in himself? No, it's not there. You can help the lady cross the street and get some pious credits for that, because you will be helped later in the next life. But there's no meaning, because it's temporary and it's meaningless. All this good and bad in this world. It's temporary, it passes. Therefore, the devotee always think, that the caravan passes and the dogs are barking, but still the caravan will pass. And all this barking, that so-called good and bad. In this world, everything is bad, Prabhupada says, and that's a reality. Good means transcendental, Krishna conscious. That because the so-called good attachment to the so-called good in this world will force you to take birth again. Is that so good? It's not so good. And that, But Draupadi took shelter of Krishna. That so people think I can do any damn thing in this world. That but there are higher. First, there is law of karma. They get reactions. But even if they get a lot of good reactions, if they blaspheme devotees, they will lose it all. But it may take a while, but then it's finished. That turns out, and the rest of their pious activities is destroyed by Vaishnava Aparadha. So it means we need to be very careful how we deal with each other. But it depends, Vaishnava Aparadha depends especially on our inner disposition. Why are we doing things? Are we doing things to bring that devotee down? Or are we doing things to elevate that devotee? To elevate spiritually. Because materially we may have good intentions, so-called, like Dak said, the good intention, I rectify my son-in-law. That is that, yeah. So the path to hell is paved with good intentions, so-called good intentions. But what's the real good in the intention is to help someone to advance in devotional service. Like Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is praying. This is a verse in these prayers of Prahlad, the 9th chapter of the 7th canto. But there, so many beautiful prayers by Prahlad Maharaj. That he acts out of compassion for others. That he has good intentions, transcendental intentions. This verse that 4943. Naivot viche pradrachaya vaitaranyas tvatvirya gainam amritamachnachita. Chochetato vimukasheta se indriyachta. Maya sukayam baramutvato vimudam. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. That so here Prahlad Maharaj said, I'm not afraid because I'm always thinking of you. But my concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I'm simply concerned with love for them. So he's concerned with others who are engaged in Maya Sukhaya. They are trying to get illusory happiness, which is temporary from sense gratification. That in the yachta, sense gratification. And he feels great compassion for them. So here we see Prahlad's compassion is, or this is intention, that he wants them to get out of this dark well of material existence. Some are so deep in this dark well, and they cannot come out. Why can't they come out? Prahlad Maharaj gives many reasons why the situation from his father is hopeless. He says, Materna Krishna Partos Vatovami Tobhatyeta Yavananam. He said, you will never become Krishna conscious, he says, because you don't have inclination for Krishna consciousness. And that inclination you will not get either by your own effort or the efforts of others. It's not possible. And why? You are addicted to the materialistic way of life, and you are going to hell. Repeatedly chewing what has already been chewed. Always, punas sarvata sarvatana. Prabhupada explained the same stereotype activities, always sense gratification. That's their goal of life. And therefore Prahlad Maharaj says to Hiranyakati Vikaspa na tevidu svartagatime vishnam darasya yebair artamanina yatayat naderpaniyamas tepistantram udamnibada. He said that you are in a deep dark well of material existence. You are so attached, and you try to push others to pursue others also in this deep well of material existence, because you don't know what's the goal of life. And it means Hiranyakasipu does not have proper intentions. That it doesn't know the goal of life. If the goal of life is sense gratification, you die, is finished. That when I came to know about Prabhupada's books and started to read them, then I became quickly aware death is real for the materialistic people, because everything what they think they are will be finished at the moment of death, and that's a fact. But we know who we are. We are spiritual beings. And we know what we take to our next life. Not only our karma, but the development of Krishna consciousness. Whatever we have developed, we take with us. But they don't know. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj said to his father, it vaputam Hyamananda Kupanga in this deep well. Therefore, Vanam Gato Yadarim Asrayeta. You go to the Vanam, you go to the forest. Because in the forest is in a mode of goodness. You go to the forest, there you will stop doing your sinful activity and stop degrading you. And in the forest there are sages. And you can hear from the sages who will put you on the path of Krishna consciousness. So he said to his father, you go to the forest. He had the best intentions, Prahlad, for his fathers. But what were the intentions of his father? Sense gratification. Forget about God. Me first. Me first. Forget about God. So that is. So we should always be aware. People may blaspheme us, but soon they will be finished. Mahavishnu Goswami, the old Gujarati Swami, before he left this world, he made a tour in America, the United States. And Taral Vilochan was with him, one of his disciples at that time, and was serving him. And at one event he was preaching, a man became very angry at him and started to blaspheme him. But Mahavishnu Goswami was not disturbed by it. The next day, this man died from a heart attack. Just the next day. We have to be careful blaspheming devotees. There's also that devotees in the 70s who did Harinam in Hamburg in Germany. And that was close to the area of the prostitutes. And they did Harinam, and out of one of these bottles came a very strong man. He was drunken. And he started to shout, and he was running to the devotees to attack them. The devotees started to chant Namaste Narasingaya. And when the man was a few meters from them, he got a heart attack and died. So these things are facts. And those sometimes we can of course not see everything what happens and what Krishna has in mind. It's not possible. But we can be assured Krishna makes here, or the Bhagavatam makes this point here, these higher laws. You have the law of karma, it's not the highest law. If one pleases devotees or one blasphemes devotees, changes your karma. That because the devotee is very dear to Krishna. And that is mentioned also in so many ways in the Bhagavatam, in the ninth canto, that Lord Shiva instructs Durvasa Muni, Sadavo Redyamayam Sadnam Redyamtvam Matanyatena Janti, Nam Tebyo Managapi. My pure devotee is always in my heart, and I'm always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotee does not know anything but me, and I do not know anything but them. So that's a very close relationship. That it's not that Krishna is impartial. But Krishna will reciprocate difference with those in the mode of passion than those in the mode of goodness, or those in the mode of ignorance. And it's our free will to be in goodness or to be in passion. And Krishna respects the free will of the living entities. So we should also respect the free will of the living entities. Those who don't want to become Krishna conscious, okay, we should respect that and take a distance. That Krishna respects our free will. That because we are his part and parcels. That but everyone has the free will to be a devotee or to be a demon. It's up to us. But of course, once one gets in the mode of passion and ignorance, it's difficult to come out. That very difficult to come out. You need the mercy of a devotee to come out of it. But Krishna sees our intentions. We cannot see the intentions of everyone. But it's an important principle. We serve the devotees. If we think we make offenses, we ask for forgiveness. That humility is a source of spiritual power. I think materialistic, my body, my senses, that's the source of power. A devotee knows my source of power is on the spiritual level. My source of power is the source. The source of my power is that I am following the instructions of the spiritual master. And by following the instructions of the spiritual master, Krishna empowers through the spiritual master. Prabhupada said many times, my only credit is that I'm trying to follow the order of my spiritual master. And therefore my spiritual master has sent all these young boys and girls. That's where strength comes from. It's not coming from arrogance, it's coming from humility. Krishna sees with humility and sincerity to follow the order of the spiritual master. And Krishna reciprocates. And we should have that faith. Whatever situation we are in, Yeah, in the material world, there's always troubles in the material world. You cannot be in the material world without troubles. Becoming a devotee does not mean that I'm going to have a peaceful life. That's not possible in the material world. But we can become unaffected by the influence of the modes of material nature, unaffected by the problems, by our absorption in Krishna consciousness. That's the way to get out. Good, I will stop here. Any question or comments? Good.
Thank you, Maharaj. It was very helpful instructions. I just was reflecting on a situation the last couple of days with some devotees, but they were from like sort of outside of ISKCON, and I got a little entangled trying to help. They were looking for some apartment, and then I sort of realized it wasn't good. There were certain things within the situation that I started to get like critical of, So I just, as you were speaking, I sort of sometimes, to avoid offenses, we maybe need a bit of distance in some situations. We shouldn't like get too involved in thinking we, like you were saying, trying to help.
Yeah.
It can be entangling. Yeah, because I saw things that were not proper, and I was like last night, I'm gonna say something that's not right, that's inappropriate. Anyway, that was something that was, thank you. And yeah, it's a fine line between pointing out something for the good, but not out of envy.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure, better like keep a little distance. And anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Shyamamai. Hare Krishna.
Good.
Thank you very much. Then we will see for next classes next week. Of course, we have the nectar instruction class this evening. That Krishna willing, by Friday evening, I'm in Deland. We'll see what's possible. Good. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you.